Hey guys, welcome back to Machine Gun Mike. Today we're going to be taking a look at this sweet gun right here, the German MG34. So the MG34 is Germany's main machine gun of World War II, that and the MG42. And in a way, the MG34 is kind of the father of the MG42. Tons of differences between the two guns. They practically share no parts, and the whole way that they operate's different, but they did serve very similar roles in the war. This one, with being named MG34, was adopted in 1934. The MG42 was adopted in 1942. So, both really, really cool guns and huge pieces of history now, of course. Now, this gun in particular does have surprisingly mostly matching parts. The top cover matches the receiver, which matches the barrel shroud, and the original barrel and bolt that did come with this gun are actually matching. We are not going to be shooting them today for obvious reasons. So, pretty much everything's matching. Oh, the buttstock has two numbers on it also. One of them's matching, one of them's not. And the non-matching parts, like the rear sight right here has a non-matching number, and then like the bipod. So, mostly matching. Really, the meat and bones of the important parts are matching. A couple little parts and stuff aren't matching. No real big deal. And it's kind of interesting if you think about it. I mean, this gun was made in 1945. That was 71 years ago. So in 71 years' time, it probably traveled all over Europe, came to the United States in the 1960s, exchanged from different owners over the past 50 years, basically, and it really kept most of its parts. So that's surprising. So anyways, what I want to do with this gun in particular, we'll do the basic thing that I usually do, which is field strip it down so you can kind of see the insides of it, and then we'll put it back together and do some shooting. Okay guys, so to disassemble this gun, it's been a while since I've disassembled it, but let me take you through it. So first we can take off this sling right there. Just go ahead and get that out of the way. Same thing with this drum. There's basically this latch right here that you push. You push that, it comes right off. So I'll set those out of the way. Now let's go ahead and flip the gun around. Just a little bit easier for me. Alright. So on the underside of this buttstock there are some buttons right here. This button you push and it removes the buttstock itself. This button you push and it removes this whole assembly. So we're going to go ahead and push that and remove it. So first you lift up the top cover, you reach under here, you push that button, rotate, and the buttstock comes right off. So here's the recoil spring right here. And then to remove the buffer assembly, you push that second button I was talking about, push that, and rotate, separates the buttstock from this right here. Set those off over there. Alright, so now that we got that removed, we can go ahead and remove the bolt as well as the barrel. So the bolt, let's grab this cocking handle, pull back, and out comes the most complicated bolt that I have ever seen. And I'll go ahead and break this bolt down just a little bit here in a second too. It's ridiculous. So with that removed, I can just take off this feed tray, that's easy enough. Top cover comes off. Mine's real tight. Basically, oh, well, never mind. So you push this button right here. I'll show that to you a little better. Right here. Push that. And hear it squeaking. And the top cover comes right off. So there's the top cover. Now to get to the barrel, there's a button over on this side right here. And all that we have to do is push that button in like that. And then we rotate the barrel shroud. There you go. And out comes the barrel. Like I said, the barrel that came with this gun was matching. This one is not matching. It's a good shooter barrel. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different serial numbers engraved on it. So it's been well used. So we'll set that over to the side. And then what you can do is push this button right here. And then this receiver comes off. It separates it from the barrel shroud. Kind of looks like its own little blaster in a way. But it is not. But it definitely looks like it. It's pretty sweet looking. And for those that don't know, this gun was in the Star Wars movies, the original ones. If you didn't know that, please go watch them. You'll see stormtroopers and Chewbacca and stuff running around with MG34s that are basically totally unmodified. It's kind of funny if you actually know what you're seeing. So that's pretty much it broken down for the main part. I guess we can go a little bit further. For that, there's this thing right here, little tab. You push that, rotate the bipod, comes right off. And just going to take off this booster cone. So the booster cone right here, so this is the front sight, obviously. So there's a spring that puts spring pressure on it to hold it into these grooves on the booster cone. So you have to lift that up, Then you can rotate the booster cone. Comes right off, both pieces. So that's pretty much it. You know, obviously you can take the gun apart more than that, but as far as no tools, I mean, look how much you can disassemble this gun. It's pretty impressive, and it didn't take me any time at all while talking to you guys. So basically the parts, we got the flash hider and booster cone, barrel shroud, we've got the buffer, the recoil spring, buttstock, bipod, we've got the feed tray, obviously the top cover, the bolt carrier group assembly, the barrel, and then our laser blaster / MG34 receiver. So here you have it, the overly complex bolt carrier group for the MG34. Pretty cool to look at. You can see all these Waffen amps stamped all over it over there. Waffen amps over there. I mean, it's crazy. They're really into those. So anyways, first thing you have to do, I'm not going to totally disassemble this thing because that'd kind of be a nightmare for me to get back together, but I'll just do a basic, I guess, field strip, you could call it. So right here, this is what holds the firing pin in place. So you pull back on these tabs, and then you rotate. Oop. There we go. Okay, once you do that, just unscrews off like that. Now this whole rear section will just rotate right off. And you can see I've got this thing just covered in oil. Helps it run good. So now you've got your firing pin that's still held in place. It's kind of cool. It's got this notch right there and right there. And inside of this, there's actually a matching notch. And that is so that you can use this as the tool. You put that on there until it grabs in place. Push down, and you got to really make sure you keep the pressure on it or else it'll go flying off. And then release it. And that comes off. Your firing pin spring comes off, and your firing pin. So yeah, there you go. So this is basically your bolt itself, kind of the bolt carrier and the firing pin and everything that kind of holds it in place. As you can see though, I mean, you can see all of this. It's very complex. So you can disassemble it. Some special tools are required for a couple parts. But for the most part, this is basically a simple field strip. So to put it back together, it's real easy. Put the firing pin back in there. Oh. Firing pin spring back in. And you need to get this set like that. It's a very strong firing pin spring. There you go. Rotate that, and then all you do with this, once you put it on, give it a good couple turns, and you'll know when it locks in place. There you go. You heard that little click, and that means now it's locked in place. So you grab it, pull it back like that, and there you go. It's ready to go back in the gun. So let's go ahead and put this gun back together. First thing we'll do, since we're just going to work backwards, is put this bipod back on. That goes on like that. There we go. Alright, now the flash hider and booster cone, just slide that in there and thread it on. Not much to that. Alright, now that's on real snug. Go ahead and attach this rear section, the receiver. So you push the button on the bottom, insert, and rotate. Before I rotate all the way, I do want to put my barrel in. Slide that barrel in there. Alright, rotate this up. Okay, now that we got that locked in place, what's next? Bolt. So bolt carrier group, slide that in place, pull the trigger, move the charging handle forward, then we'll go ahead and put this top cover on. So here's that little button I said that you push. Push that. And top cover goes right on. Get the feed tray. As you can see, I mean, it's pretty simple to put back together. So the last thing is the buttstock. So with that, grab the buttstock, grab the buffer assembly, put that in place, and rotate. Locks it in place. Now we just slide it on the back. Be good if you slide it on the right way. There we go. So that's all in place. Last thing is a sling. Actually, let's go ahead and put that on. So the sling's pretty simple. There's just this button you push right here. Slide that into a hole on the underside of the grip. Push that button, and then you can rotate this section up. Locks that in place. And then, you know, this is pretty self-explanatory. There you go, there's everything. Obviously there's this drum mag, but I don't even know if I'm going to be using this today. It was kind of for show in the very beginning. So here's the gun put back together. So it is ready to go firing, so let's go do that. I almost forgot, so before we shoot, I wanted to do a close-up flyby of the gun like I usually do. So here it is, and we'll start over here at the front with the flash hider and booster cone. Front sight, and there's the bipod. It's dated 1942, so different than the gun, like I said. Real cool looking barrel shroud. Here's the rear side of the gun. There's the trigger and safety, top cover, and obviously the buttstock. I'll lift up the top cover, push this, it lifts right up. And underneath the top cover you can see that's just like the M60 and all sorts of other machine guns that came out later. Real cool looking. And then back to the Bakelite buttstock. Now let me go flip the gun around real quick. Here's the other side of the gun. Really not much different. I mean, the front's pretty much exactly the same. This right here, by the way, is where you attach the anti-aircraft front sight, which I do have, but I didn't bring today. And actually, I'll show you this. So on that rear sight, when you're using the front aircraft sight, you grab this and you flip that up, and that's your rear sight. Here's the button that I pushed earlier to then remove the barrel shroud from the receiver. Charging handle, real simple looking, gets the job done. And that's about it. Let's go do some shooting. This gun's kind of interesting. It actually has a dual trigger. If you squeeze the top part of the trigger, it's semi-auto. If you squeeze the bottom part of the trigger, it's full auto. So I'll do a little bit of both right now. while since I've shot this thing. But as you can see though, it's actually pretty neat. You know, you don't have to have a selector to go between semi-auto and full auto. Like I said, just top part is semi, lower part is full auto. So let's go ahead and load up another belt, shoot a little bit more. All right, so I've got some little rubber yellow targets set up down range. When you shoot them, they just kind of roll around. So I'm just gonna see if I can hit them. I think we're gonna do, I brought that drum magazine, drum belt carrier, whatever you want to call it. Let's go ahead and load that up and I'll shoot a belt through that. Here's the drum, and it's pretty simple how you load it. You pull this handle up, then you fold it down, and then you're able to unlock it. Once you can unlock it, you can open it up. Then you grab your belt, and basically you just have to roll it up. Now, really all that difficult to do, but you do want it to be kind of tight. Okay, so once you get kind of nicely rolled up like that, you can lay it into the drum. Kind of like that. And then you do leave a couple links on the belt empty. That way you can feed it through. Then you close the lid, latch it down, and lock down the latch. And here's the drum, and it's kind of cool. You can actually close it so that, you know, these bullets won't just come flying out, and you can carry it around like this. There you have it, guys. The MG34, a seriously awesome gun. I'm sure that you noticed the fire rate is quite a bit slower than the MG42, which I did a video of earlier, and I'm sure I'll do plenty of other videos of in the future. But it is quite a bit slower, but still way faster than the machine guns like the 1919 that the US military was using in World War II. There are pluses and minuses to that, but it's just something to note. You know, and it's just such a huge piece of history, this gun. You know, in a way, not only is it the father of the MG42, but really tons of machine guns that then came out in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and modern times all really kind of share this basic layout, the same operating mechanism with how the top cover works and things like that. So this machine gun really just isn't the father or grandfather of the MG42. It's really of a lot of different machine guns, not just in Germany, but all over the world. And for that, it is a huge piece of history. And it really is just cool just to kind of be in its presence and just be shooting it. You know, you can almost feel the history coming off of this thing. I mean, this one was made 71 years ago, but this gun was adopted, what, 82 years ago. And talk about a very different time. And look at who our enemies were then compared to now. Totally different than they were, you know, and that's just interesting, you know, and that's really why us people are really into these guns. You know, some people kind of think, you know, guys that are into guns and these old machine guns and stuff like that, they're just into all the bad stuff. But really, it's all about the history, and that's really what makes this stuff really cool to either own or just look at or just get to shoot or whatever. It really all comes down to the history of it and just the mechanics of how they work and how cool they are. So anyways, As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you saw, please definitely check me out on my Facebook page. I don't post on there a whole lot, but every now and then I'll put up videos or pictures. It's www.facebook.com/machinegunmikeyoutube. And if you're interested at all in supporting the channel, check me out at www.patreon.com/machinegunmike. So until next time, have a good day, and I'll see you here later.